It's time for the Unscripted Push with DeVonnda Chantel and Ebony S. Bailey. Are you ready to live your best unscripted life? We're ready to jump right into the conversation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Unscripted Push Podcast.
What in the world was that?
It's another episode. The Unscripted Push Podcast. I can't even do it.
It's terrible. I don't know which. Do we need another tape? No. Okay. We here now. We gonna start.
You're not gonna mess up my theme song.
Oh, it's just
the
hers.
Unscripted Push Podcast. You got to push.
You said it was
Now
just
yours.
yours.
You got a rebellious spirit.
No, you said you ain't gonna mess up my whatever you called it.
My Unscripted Push song. I wonder if they can get that on the radio.
We need to get with Brandon.
Yeah.
We need to record it. I told him when I went to I just heard him singing. I said, I didn't know your throat was set up like that, sir. I didn't know your throat was set up like that.
He can sing. Hey, that's our music producer.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see the intro, but he can sing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did. He was playing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
He did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. That's the first thing I said to him. I was like, I didn't know your throat was set up like that.
I know he was like, yeah.
Try to be humble.
That would be humble.
Try to be humble. But hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. This is episode number 8. Oh my gosh, 80.
Wow.
It's 80.
8 episodes with you.
Don't do that. You loved
Wow.
every single minute. She lied.
Somebody help me.
First of all, she'll randomly text me, the people love us, so I guess you suck.
Y'all do. Thank you so much for showing us so much love and the views and subscribing to our YouTube and sending us messages and the feedback, and you guys can relate. I'm loving it. But tell your mama, daddy, family, and them to subscribe to the YouTube channel now. We can get some more subscribers out there.
You was almost good with it. The last time you added
I
that
be
beat.
trying.
You was doing good.
Was
You said
trying.
it too many times. You should have just said it
I was
once.
trying, y'all. I be trying to say these words without tanging them, making them a little country.
You said tanging. Okay. I was like, what is happening here? Okay.
And a little tang.
A little twang.
Little twang.
A little twang.
I said tang. Y'all, my words be all messed up. I make up stuff.
Mm-hmm. She does. But we've been talking about a lot of. I feel like the each episode gets a little bit more deep and intense, but it's still lighthearted. We can still laugh and still talk. But today, we about to talk about some serious stuff. I mean, not that anything else wasn't serious, but we're about to
talking about girls.
We talking about. Yeah, we're about to get all in. I guess I can't say it's just your business. It's in mine too.
Mm-hmm.
But trust. And we're going at it.
Look, my heart started beating when she said trust. Look like, jeez.
We're talking about trust from the angle of, now we sprinkle God in most of the time, through our conversations. But this time we're talking about trusting God for our future.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that's that sigh right there. I know, because when you get to the space where God is changing your everyday and your normal, and it's being redefined, and you're changing and evolving, and then you're like, okay, God, what does that mean? What does that mean for me now? Mm-hmm. All of that. So it requires a level of trust at a different level that sometimes it ain't that easy. Mm-mm. And either you trust, and that's the part where I've been talking about casually trust falls. And the Lord has showed me before that I didn't trust him fully. Mm-hmm. And I was choosing the areas that I trusted him in. But if I really, really do trust him holistically. Like, do you remember Kelly Price? Remember back in the day, all the R&B artists used to have one gospel song on their album. At the end. One good gospel song. But she had one called Lord of All.
Oh, you listened to the whole album?
I saw myself in
Go on and do it on camera.
Why? Because you popped me the last time. Oh, you tried to get me back because I popped you because you tried to say some other word during the episode. But I love her voice.
Beautiful voice.
But Lord of All, and it's like not Lord of some.
I love that song.
Yeah, like God, like you are always the Lord of all. Why are you trying to make me sing? She's talking about how it go. You know what?
I was trying to remember it.
Make her. I'll tell you the words and you sing it.
No, never mind. See them trust issues. Show it up. Go ahead.
But that's the part that I'm reminded of. That song, like, is God really Lord of all, or is He Lord of some?
Ooh.
And that's what we live our life when we give Him. When we try to section off this area. Okay, God, I trust you with that. I know you got my kids. They good. All right, God, I trust you with this part. I know you're going to make sure that I'm financially stable in this way. Like, you ain't going to let me go down in this way. But do I trust you in believing that you know the plans that you have for me with my future? Like, do I trust that when you put me in these spaces and open up these doors that I will stand there and not flop? That you will cover me. Like in those spaces, God, am I truly trusting you with a full yes, or is it a partial yes in the spaces that I can control? Because if you don't do this, I can do this, and it'll somewhat stay afloat.
And I think for me, when it comes to like your destiny and not knowing and how to navigate it and trying to trust God through it, and you're just like, oh God, okay, but God, can you tell me a little bit? Can you show me a little bit? like just trying to talk to Him. Even, I know I talked about it before with moving to Texas. People have tried to discourage them. Like, you sure with God? You going out there by yourself? And I'm like, what do you do when God tell you to move and you don't know why? Like, I don't know why. Like I was telling you guys, I think in the other episode of Ebony, like, this, North Carolina is my comfort zone. Like, why would you tell me to uproot myself where I'm comfortable? I have all my friends, my family, everybody is here to an unknown place where there's nobody.
Go to a land I will show you.
And and I'm just like, and people will be like, you sure you want to go to Texas? All the Texas laws that they got down there and just saying all these things. And I'm just like, I know I heard God. Y'all think I wanted to move? When I got down there to Texas, me and my mom went to look at apartments. I felt myself able to breathe. I feel like the best way to kind of put it is North Carolina, I feel like I'm suffocating. When I got off the plane, I rented a car for the first time. Chris taught me how to do it. So I'm real grown now. So I'm driving through Texas.
You don't even got to talk about that. Go ahead, drive through Texas, girl.
I have not moved here.
She don't. Okay, we're not doing this. Go ahead.
I don't drive myself.
Keep going.
But anyway, I knew this was what you were about to say. But anyway, I was driving through Texas. You can't tell me I'm not a Texian. I was driving myself. But anyway, I was driving myself, and it's like a breath of fresh air. And it was like God was just ministering to me, like, this is it. And everything was lining up. And it's so crazy because I was at the hotel and I was telling the person in the front, I said, yeah, I'm moving to Mansfield and I'm just searching for apartments. And she was like, oh yeah, the sales manager right here, it lives in Mansfield. And I was talking to her and she said, why don't you check out this certain apartment place? That was not even on my list, not a place that I was actually even going to. And so when me and my mama went to the place that I actually had appointments, I'm like, oh, it's cute. It's, it's nice. But it's just not what I thought it was going to be. I got to that apartment complex. I said, this is it. And it was even cheaper than the ones that I was actually looking at. And number one in Mansfield for apartments. And I was just like, oh my God, you can't tell me that little things that are happening is not God ordained. And He has a reason behind everything that He's due. So even in the unknown, and you have to trust that what God tell you, because people can sidetrack you or pull you away from the destiny and the direction that God has you going into. There's a things that happened in my life that I had to be like, okay, God, I trust you. Not man, what my mom say, friends, family, anybody else say. I have to trust that this is what you told me to actually do and do it. When it comes to putting out my book, and when it comes to like taking a job opportunity, when it comes to moving, when it comes to the decisions that I made in my life based off of what God told me to do, he never failed. But people always want to be on the other side of it. But you just told me that you didn't think that's what God told me to do. And then when you see the manifestations of what he does now, it's like, girl, I'm so glad you did it.
That's my twin brother in the Bible is Joshua. So that's what I learned from studying him as a person. Like, I learned that he made no moves until he got clear on what the Lord said to him. He didn't include other people in it until it was what the Lord said to him. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally moved to include other people, it was the people that needed to know. Mm-hmm. So everybody doesn't have to know your moves. Like, you hear people talk about you don't got to announce all your moves, and you don't, because there are sometimes in the infancy stage, that's when the enemy comes and he thinks that he can weed you out, and things die prematurely. Yeah. When things are birthed prematurely, they die, and they have a chance to die.
And people can talk you out of it.
Yes, right. And because it's small, and you haven't taken the time to really understand every move that the Lord is saying. And so when I studied Joshua, and I was in that very first chapter, and it was after Moses died, and now he had to step into this role of leading people that were being led by somebody else. So those were big shoes to fill. Moses took them out of Egypt, from suffering and bondage, and he took them into the wilderness. Now they're upset about they're like, how long are we going to be here? So now not only is he dealing with a group of people that were leaving, because you can get used to trauma, and it becomes your normal. Yeah. And you can deal with that pain because you know what it feels like. But when God transitions you to something different and you don't know what to expect, sometimes the familiar is easier, even if it does hurt. Like, that's how you'll hear people talk about relationships, or why they stay in different situations. They stay in a job, they stay in a church, they stay in a marriage, they stay in whatever, because it's familiar. But what do you do when God says, no, go out? And then all he does is say, right now, I need you to just get clear on the plan. Don't include anybody else. And so that's what, for me, like, when I had to make the transition from my last ministry, it wasn't popular to other people, because they didn't understand how I could go and my husband and my children could stay. And I said, well, I know what I heard. And it wasn't immediate that I moved. That was one of the other things I learned about in that chapter. Joshua did not move. He was there. The word told him to meditate on it day and night. It wasn't an overnight thing. Like, he had to do that thing. He had to get it clear. He had to understand the steps, because the Bible told him not to go from the left or the right. So that means you can make no additions or take away from the plan. So that means you really had to know it. So in the spaces where God is telling you to move forward, this is why I felt it so important for you to, like, just turn down the turn down noise, because nobody else has to understand. Even what we're doing, nobody else has to understand. It doesn't have to make sense as long as the people involved, God has given us the green light. Then we go ahead, and it will be faced with opposition. That's how you know you're doing it right.
And people don't understand the preparation stages. Like, the moving, this ain't just happened. It was 2 years for the podcast. We didn't know it was going to be us doing a podcast, but we have been talking about this, for over, I think, about 2 years or over a year.
And I have been doing it by myself. I have been doing my She Woke Up podcast. Remember? Yeah. And I have been bringing guests on. I have been doing things by myself. We did a whole self-care journal. It's been like 3 years. Yeah. We did that together. And still didn't think about doing this. But she's been on every season of She Woke Up.
Every season. I thought about it. I said, dang. Every time it'll pop up, I send it. I'm like, wow. I have been on every season of She Woke Up. It was like God had been preparing us, and we didn't know the outcome, back then. We were just like, oh, I was like, Ebony's doing She Woke Up. It'll help me to talk more and being, in the forefront and different things like that. So let me do this. But I didn't know he was preparing me for this, because I never thought I would be here. This is not something that was on the top priority. This was a God thing. This was a God move. It wasn't, oh, we just going to do a podcast.
No.
At all.
Because we know it's bigger than that. And then when you start moving, and again, you got to understand your obedience is what unlocks the next thing. So if it were me that weren't operating in the way that I needed to, the Lord wouldn't have asked us to do this together. Like, we wouldn't have done this together, especially if she was progressing forward, because then I would have been a hindrance to that, or vice versa.
Right.
So there's something that together that we needed to do together that would then unlock other things. We both have individual things that we're doing. Like, everything's not together. You see this, but then she has her own platform. I have my own platform. And like, even I always talk about Crystal in this, but even in this is showing Crystal, hey, I could do something else too. I got this. And she's realizing she likes to do this organism. So it's like our yes is starting to open up other things for other people. And it doesn't mean that God wouldn't have shown that person that they could do it, but this is the way that he's allowing it to happen. And so you have to understand that when you are in the stages and God is birthing something new on the inside of you, I also think that's why my circle's getting smaller, because I don't need all of the noise. And I don't want to call it noise, but I don't need all of the commentary and the extra opinions. I don't need that part, because especially if it's somebody close to you, their opinion matters. And then maybe it will change a little bit of how you see things,
And then I'm learning not to say things until afterwards, or till I know for sure you're not going to change my mind. Like, what you say really doesn't matter, because I know for a fact what God has told me to do. And then I want to go back to Joshua. I haven't studied him too much, but imagine if he would not have turned down the noise.
If he would have been so fearful.
If he would have been so fearful, he would not have did what it is that God wanted him to do. I mean, God can use anybody, so he could have used somebody else. But just imagine how many times you listen to people and God tell you to do something, and then you see somebody else do it.
Yeah, because you ain't listening.
Because you ain't listening.
You didn't move in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't move in it.
So it's like you really have to trust God. And it's hard. It's hard because you want to know the outcome. You want to know, what's going to happen. But that's boring. Why would you want to go through life knowing every single thing or every outcome of things? We like surprises. We like things that happen. I like being able to say, God, I know there was nobody but you. But for me to know, like, I think somebody had asked, would you want to know your future? Like, would you want to know everything that's going to happen? No. I would not want to know every single thing that's going to happen. Good things that are going to happen. I like that surprise. I like to be like, oh, man, God, that was amazing. I don't want it to come like, oh, girl, well, here comes September 28th. You know what's going to happen on September 28th. And then it takes away. Like, I don't want to know everything that God's going to do. And I'm learning to trust him. And if he told me that he's going to do it, he's going to do it. It may not be in his timeline, my timeline, right, what I think it should be, but he's going to do it. With marriage, with kids, the things that I desire, and speaking and doing different things and being effective in women, and all the things that he has for my destiny and where he's taking me, just trusting that he's going to help me through those things. Even our biggest insecurities. And I know I talked about this before with you guys, is that I have an insecure speaking. And so I'm like, God, you keep putting me on these platforms to speak. Why are you doing this? And I know it's a reason. I know it's not just for me, but I have something to say, and I could be helping somebody else who has the same issues that I actually face when it comes to that. So it's like I'm giving God my yes, regardless of how nervous or how scared I am.
Because you need him. Like, if you go back to it, and I told you I've been living Joshua for a while. So think about his move from Moses was his mentor. Like, that was the person that he was under. Like, think about back when, and I short Bible study. Back when it was Joshua and Caleb, they had to go, they were them and some other guys had to go spy a land to see, if it was a good place to go, can we win? Can we do this? Right. And out of everybody that came back, Joshua and Caleb were the ones that was like, no, we got this. Everybody else was scared. They were like, oh, it's big. They're big. We're like giants in their eyes. No, they're like giants in our eyes. And so they just didn't think that they could take, and Joshua and Caleb were like, no, we got this. And so from that point on with Moses, like, he's like, okay. All right. And so those two was, his support. And now when it's time for them to cross over and Moses passed away, imagine Joshua's literally been serving him. And now the Lord is asking him to not even take the time to grieve. He's telling it's time for you to move into action. So I am grieving the person that I have spent the time serving. And now you want me to take the space that he was operating in, and you want me to do what you called him to do. So I have to study extra careful what you told him to do so that I perform it the right way. That's where the meditating on it day and night. How confident do you think he had to be to actually take ownership of that plan and then tell the people, I know y'all was serving on Moses, but guess what? It's me now.
It's me now.
And y'all have to listen to me. And y'all have to obey me. And you have to do such and such and such. Imagine that. And so Joshua is...
I know you've been studying, not to interrupt, but how did and I haven't studied Joshua, so how did the people in that transition, does the Bible talk about how that
they received it? So what ended up happening, this is the crazy part. So everybody that left Egypt that was in the wilderness ended up dying out, except for Joshua and Caleb.
Wow.
They could, by the time it was time for them to get to the Jordan, that when they had to cross the Jordan, when it was time for them to get to the Jordan, they had a whole new set of people because you had to leave that old, like, to me, that reminds me, you leave the old mindset. Like, you have to leave some stuff behind. And then think about it too, like when you start going further into that book, and I won't turn this into a whole Joshua thing because I'm telling y'all, I feel like I got a whole book I could write about him. But I learned so much about him because he came from leadership. His lineage, that's what they were known for. They were known for leading. Like, they were very instrumental in that aspect. So he was born in as a leader, but he served for so many years before he actually stepped into that role. So the transition from them receiving, because yes, they died out, but then eventually, people were born because they had to replace them so that they could cross the Jordan, which that tells you, like, you can't take old stuff into a new territory that God has for you, especially stuff that won't conform to what he wants it to do. So he has to do that purging and tearing away. But because he was so confident in the plan that God gave him, and he sat with it and he knew the instructions, he then told the next soldiers that were over the tribes what needed to be done. So he communicated it to them, and then they understood what their assignment was. And he didn't have to go tell all the tribes. Those leaders told their people, so they trusted the leadership and they followed suit. They did not kick and scream. They followed it. They trusted him. They trusted him, even down to when they got across the Jordan. Remember I told you, these are people that were born in the wilderness. So they weren't circumcised. These were grown men that, because Joshua was like, now it's time for you to be circumcised. Grown men out there getting circumcised. Because they believed the word that God spoke to the man that was over them and that was sent to lead them. So imagine if, like you said, Joshua did not embrace what the Lord told him to do, because he had
who he was.
Yeah, he had to grow into his leadership. And so the same with you moving. You're going to have to grow into that space. And it is a land that you don't know. They didn't know what was on the other side of the Jordan. They didn't know. They had stories of, and they knew what to expect. And the other side of it was they knew that everything on the other side belonged to them, but they had to walk through it. They had to fight. They had to take every territory. Like they had to, back then, they was ready for a good battle, killing people, taking them out. So all of that had to happen. So even with you crossing over into Texas, that's your new territory. There'll still be things that you have to dismantle and you have to conquer.
And it's so crazy, and bringing it, the reason why I asked, because it's bringing it back practical to, everyday life even with me in leadership, in the workforce. Like I had a team already that I was managing. They've been with me for years and I was comfortable. And then God transferred me to a new department where I, got a raise and got a higher position with the new managers. So it's like I had to, I don't want to say prove myself, but I had to really step up with people that don't know me, earn their respect. Look, I'm here. This is what I need you to do. This is how I need you to do it. So God has been revealing to me in that he has been doing this a little bit at a time. So I have no reason not to trust him or to be scared of when he tells me to go. I always operate and do what it is that I need to do when it's my time to do what I need to do.
So what do you think would cause, because we talked about in the last episode, trauma and triggers, right? So when you're crossing over into your new season, and I don't even want to call it a season because this is like dimensions. Like we're taking leaps and bounds because some stuff that you would think that it would take longer to progress to is happening faster. So what are some things that you have to mentally do to kind of build yourself to the point where you're not falling back into that? I'm gonna go back in my shell. Like I'm gonna be timid. Like I don't know if I belong in this room, so I'm gonna come in the room, but I'm gonna sit in the corner. I know, Lord, you said sit at that part of the table, but I'm gonna sit over there. I'm in the room though. I was obedient with that part, but I don't know if I really belong at that table and then in that seat.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that about me. Like I would go into a room cute now. I'm gonna be fly, but I'm gonna sit in the back, or I don't have to sit in the front. Even with my mom and going to church, I'm like, Mom, why do you want to sit on the third row of the church? But anyway, I think what I need to do, what I'm gonna have to do, is put myself out there more.
What does that mean?
That means having conversations. That means actually talking to people first. Usually people come up to me and start talking, but I'm going to have to be uncomfortable with going up to people and having a conversation. So I'll tell somebody you're pretty or you look nice or I like what you got on, but to sit there and the stuff that I don't like with small talk, I'm probably going to have to do some small talk to get to know people and talk to people and stuff. And then I don't want to get up there and then just stay in the house either. Like, I'm going to have to go to church. I'm going to have to go to events. I'm going to have to talk to people, network. And I do have people that I know there. I don't have relationships with them as friends, but I do have people that I know. So, but I can't go into a room in this season and just be quiet like I used to.
And you can't do that anyway. Every time you go somewhere, somebody, who's that girl in the 5th row? Who's that girl?
Oh my God. I hate it. I'll be like, I just come in minding my own business and here come the somebody in the front. Yeah, you come in. I'm like, oh my God, I should have worn black.
It would have been black, but it would have had sparkles and glitter, and she'd have came in with her hair blowing like somebody with a fan in front of her.
And I'm really so focusing this season on being who God has called me to be. With life being so short, like it's no time for fear. Even I'm just going to have to do it scared. Like, that's just been my motto. Like, even though I'm petrified or I'm scared, I might mess up. I might not do it right. I might be hard on myself about it. Like, I have to do it. It's people dying that I know that wish they would have took leaps and did what it is they're supposed to do. And we sitting here waking up another day. That means God is using us and we're here for a purpose and a reason. And we get so caught up, and I me included, I get caught up with work, or I get caught up with, other people, things that I don't take time to be like, okay, God, what is it that you need from me? What is it that I need to do? And it's like I have to spend that time with him and really hear from him. What is the next level? What is it that you want to do? I'm not going into spaces just to be in that space. If God didn't send me, I'm not going. So this next move in my life, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to my destiny, my calling, and where God has taken me, it has to be God. I don't want to just have a relationship just to say I have somebody. I don't want to just be friends with people because, oh, they're popping or they're this. What are you adding to my life that's going to be beneficial for my purpose and my destiny and where I'm going? Because I can be friends with anybody. I can have a man if I want to. I don't want any man. I want my purpose partner. I want good, effective people in my life that we can start doing business stuff together. It's time out for just having everyday friends. I want business relationships. What can we bring to the table with each other? Yeah, what can we build together? I'm not good. We work good. It's areas that you're great in. It's areas that I'm great in. And we align and work together with it. You know? So those are the relationships I'm looking for. And see, not just, oh, you think I'm, I just want to be your friend. No. This friendship comes with some with some stuff, girl. What do you have to offer? What do we have to offer each other?
I'm supposed to be having a friendship evaluation on Tuesday. I might go to.
Might. No, you will go. I'll pull up in Smithville. Hey girl, you better put an evaluation. Be like, don't nobody let her in.
But it's true though. Like we were talking about scripture, and we said, I told her, I was like, oh, the perfect one, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know so some of the translations say I know the plans I have for you, and then some of them say I know the thoughts I think towards you. And I'm like, okay, guys, so he's saying I know these. So in order for us to even access those, we have to know him. We have to take the time to, develop that relationship beyond surface. So investing in the relationships that you have with friends or partners or whatever, any of those things is great. But the ultimate person is the Lord, and that's for us that are believers. Like, for those that are not, this episode might not be for you. But for those of us that are, you understand that there comes a point where, the Bible talks about milk and meat. Okay, so you're going to have to come off of the milk at some point, because I don't know if y'all hungry. If somebody hand you a bottle of milk, that is not going to do it. Not as an adult. Not as, I'll be 42 this year. No, don't do that.
Give me the meat. Sorry. I got distracted by your age.
She ain't that much younger.
I'm way younger than you. I'm way younger than everybody.
Wow.
So I'll be 39 May 26th. So if you want to get me a gift, just inbox me on Facebook or Instagram. I'll send you my Cash App. If you want to be a blessing to this move to Texas. That's what I want for my birthday.
Oh, she didn't give me no room, so.
Look, I done downsized to a 1-bedroom, y'all. So I was like, I get the couch thing. They can take the bed when her and Crystal comes. I know they're going to be there all the time. Well, Trevor's going to be like, he sent my wife back.
Wherever I go anywhere, he be like, you coming back? Because I ain't dealing with these kids by myself.
I be like, Crystal, aren't you supposed to go to work? Oh. Crystal, I took a week off of school with them kids and them people.
But there's so much for us to do. Like, I do believe that God can't give us, like, he shows us stuff in part for the reason. People like me, I'd be like, what? What you want me to do? Hold on.
I know.
Give me a second.
He can't give it to us. Imagine if God tried to give us everything at one time. You know the anxiety I deal with. I'd be like, who gonna be speaking at that place? Like, are you sure I'm qualified for this? Just I've been talking to the Lord. Lord, are you sure you won't be? Lord, I got to make sure I'm not cussing on these platforms.
Sweet. But literally says, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, not of evil.
Peace.
to give an expected end. Some say hope in the future.
Mm.
So all of those things, like, first of all, the first thing he says that he thinks those thoughts of us is thoughts of peace. Like, so he's not concerned about it.
Mm-mm.
Why are we wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we wondering, like, oh my gosh, how I'm gonna get here? I gotta go do this. I gotta. And I will be honest, last week was a hellish week for me.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day.
Something.
Every single. Okay, I'll take it back. Tuesday through Friday was I woke up like, okay,
what's gonna happen today?
What in the world? But then I got to, so Tuesday took me out. Okay, I'll be honest. I'll give it to you. Tuesday, I even had a meeting with the She Woke Up team. And before that, I thought my head was going to explode. Okay. And I got on there and I was even trying to gather myself. And I still, at that moment, was like, I was like, can somebody pray? And then my mom was trying to get other people to pray. Then I just started praying. I was like, fine, I'll pray. And then even in the prayer, it was kind of centering me because I was like, Ebony, get your mind. You pull your mind back. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to learn to pull your mind back, because if it's happening and you're here, God can take care of it. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to control it in the way you are. And so Darius Daniels preached. I don't know if y'all better follow him, but he preached on Easter, and he said, I think it was Easter, or I don't know if it was Thrive, one of the two, but he was talking about people, when Jesus was about to come out of the tomb. And he was like, if it hasn't happened yet, it's not Sunday. And he was talking about the resurrection. And like, if they would have went to the tomb on Saturday, then he would have been there. Mm-hmm. And then the miracle that everybody is in awe about wouldn't have happened the way it did. But it took him to have to die on Friday. They had to endure all of that on Saturday and then go looking for him at a place he should have been, but he was not, on Sunday. And so it reminded me that, Ebony, breathe. Mm-hmm. It's okay. If it hasn't happened yet, it's not Sunday. It's not the time for it to be resurrected. And there are some things that God literally allows to die for him to bring it back. Mm-hmm. And we have to let it die. Lazarus died, and even Jesus wept. He was sad about it. And he already knew that he was going to get up. You know what I mean? So the part about trusting the process is all on us, especially when we know all. I keep saying that because that's the scripture I've been living. All things work together. If all things are going to work together, that means we need all parts of the process. And so when he tells us to go in these spaces that we feel are so big for us, and we're like, but God, me? I just started doing this. Mm-hmm. I just started getting in this space. And you want me to do what in front of who? You want to give access to this type of person or this room? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah. And then that's it. And you're like, wait, hold on. You're like, but how do I prepare?
What do I say? Hold on, Lord. Call me back.
And he's like, go to a place I will show you. Mm-hmm. Literally, like he said, go to a place I will show you. And you're like, but where is that place at? Like, which direction? It's like being in the car on GPS and it get quiet and you on the highway and you're like, what exit do I get off? And it's just silent. Yeah. And you don't hear anything till it's time for you to move.
So for the people that's watching that may be struggling with trust or struggling with their trust issues, what would you say to them? Or what would you say, how do you get past it? Or how do you really effectively trust God?
I had to do two things. Because I have control issues at times, I had to learn to relinquish my control. And it was in phases. I couldn't do it all at once. Mm-hmm. I had to realize that I'm an emotional person. So because I'm an emotional person, that triggers trauma responses sometimes when things happen a certain way. And I'm like, God, but you said you had me. Why doesn't it look like you do? Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was the whole trusting, okay, you really are going to come through. Yes, there have been people in your life that have said one thing and not completed what they said, but I am not that person. So I had to trust that God would do that. And I had to do that with small things. Mm-hmm. So it was times that I'm a writer. So I would write prayers, right? And I document things. I write things down that I'm believing God for. Mm-hmm. I even have a section in my phone like that, even for my friends that I'm like, what are you praying for? Or if somebody asks me, Ebony, can you join me in prayer with this? I have like a section in my phone that is like listed it. And it's something where I can just check off, okay, God, you answered that prayer. So I would start in small increments because sometimes you have small stuff so that you can get that win. And then you move forward to the next thing, and then you build from it.
Yeah, and for me, what I had to do was, I'm not a writer like Ebony likes to write in a journal. I like to put it in my notes section in my iPhone. So I would actually write stuff down in my notes section, or type it, or text, whatever y'all call it on the iPhone, and type stuff down and say, look, these are the things that I'm struggling to trust you with, God. And I would pray over it. And I say, God, these are the things that I'm struggling with. These are the things that I'm struggling trusting you with. But I'm going to have faith that you are going to bring me through these things and these struggles. And I would leave it there. And I won't go back to it. And as God started to do things that I wrote on that list, then I started checking it off. And that helps me see that God hears you.
Yeah.
It's you that's not trusting or believing that he's going to do that for you. And sometimes it's a defense mechanism because you like, if this don't happen, then, whatever.
And then we put timetables on stuff. Like, we think that it has to happen by this time for it to be answered. And God's like, you're not ready yet. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes too, that you're not ready yet. Or you have people around you that I told you to let release and you didn't. So I can't give that to you because you'll mismanage it in this season if they're with you. Yep. So even in that space, I had to allow, like, when I tell you control is a big thing, and that is something that I did talk to my therapist about, and she be getting at me sometimes with certain things, but I did talk about the control because she talked about that in my mothering. She was like, okay, let's talk about that. Are we dealing with mommy guilt? Why? Okay, what happened? How do we do it? What did you do today differently that you did the last time? Like, we go through those stages because I was trying to control the way the interaction was with my kids and how they received me and how they felt. Like, I'm trying to provoke them to feel a certain way, and I can't do that. And then when it doesn't happen the way I think, it hits my heart a different way, and there's a trigger. And now I'm feeling, well, maybe I'm not a good mom, or maybe I'm not doing this right, or maybe I could do this. And so then I go down this spiral, and I'm like, Ebony, stop controlling that. If you're supposed to show up in this way. They have to receive on their end too. So I think for me, with just understanding that if God has given us a hope in the future, and he already knew what we were supposed to do before we were formed, we got to come into alignment with him. And so the blueprint is with him. And if we are outside trying to get confirmation from everybody else, and we're not taking the time to have, like, I'm big on devotion. So like in the morning, that's my quiet time. I have to get centered. If I don't, my day is extremely loud. But if I do that, it helps me have something to pull on. So that's another thing that I would say is the releasing control, but I do that in my devotion time. But that's only because I put God first in that space.
Yeah, you just have to. I know it's easier said than done, but you have to trust God. Like, that is the only way that you're going to get through a lot of things in your life, and a lot of things that you are actually going through is by trusting him.
Fully.
Lord of all. I'm telling you, I have got to a point, and you can write it out. You like, God, these are the things that I'm struggling with. These are the things that I don't see happening in my life. But I know, and I have faith that you are going to do this for me. I know, like, even with me, like, I had made a bold statement. Ooh, that was a bold statement I made while I was speaking. God, man, you got to do something now. I said that while I'm speaking and stuff, because I really have faith that he's gonna do it.
Some people have faith that he'll do it for other people and not them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a trust issue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
That's a trust issue.
Good.
That was my issue.
Mm-hmm.
I see God, I believe, I pray for everybody else to get these things. You're doing it for that people. What about me?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to my things that I petitioned, I feel like you're dragging your feet, Lord. Maybe that's not what you want from me.
But you will see, like, even with the job I'm at now, I'm blessed to have a good job now, but it wasn't always that way. Like, it was a struggle between getting out of college and actually getting to where I'm at now. And all my friends was programming. They was making 6 figures. They was doing all this stuff. And I'm getting laid off. I'm struggling. I'm like, God, what are you trying to teach me in this season of my actual life? And it's like, I had to learn humility because he was putting me in the leadership path. And so sometimes God puts you in these situations for a reason, because it wasn't time. If I had the job that I had now back then, fresh out of college and coming in, I would have ruined it because my temper was bad, because I just was saying.
It's worse. That's worse.
My temper was bad.
That was deliverance. She saw that.
Or I would say anything that comes to my mind. So God had to prepare me on my journey to get me to where I'm at now. So if it has not happened in your life yet, you have to ask God, what are you trying to teach me? What is it that I need to learn before you take me to this next level? And then I know, like, my prayer now with God is, if you taking me to this speaker level, or you put me on platforms, or you put me in the public eye, help me not to react to everything. Because I would go off in the comments. Like, I'm going to respond back to you and say your mom real quick. So I'm just trying to have God help me to have tougher skin, is what I'm saying, in this next season.
Stop reading the comments.
Yeah.
I've heard lots of people say that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't read it.
I won't read the comments. I'm not, because I know that I'm not mature enough yet for that. Because I read the comments now, like, I almost went halfway viral on TikTok. And told the guy had commented or whatever, all men was just saying, all this different stuff, and I just wasn't paying no attention. But I got one comment because my caption said, I'm the big fine auntie. This guy commented, said, definitely big.
Oh no.
But it was funny to me. Like, I laughed, but I did not react.
Look, Crystal had it on. I was like,
oh, girl, you matured me a little bit, because I laughed when I saw that, whatever, because it was funny. It was actually funny to me, because I was like, people are going to be people. I said, so I can tell that he's doing something on the inside, and he's hearing my prayers, because before I probably would have got defensive and tried to, like, look at his page and, like, go back and forth with him and stuff like that. But I actually laughed. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is the stuff I'm be having to deal with. So I just laughed it off and went on about my business. And I thought about it. I was like, dang, God, you really heard my prayer. You helping me to have a little bit more tough skin. I think, now messing with the people I love, that's a different story. You're going to have to get these hands in. But just going back and forth with people on social media, I'm like, they're not comfortable with themselves. They have their own insecurities.
People real bold behind the screen.
It's not worth it. But those are my prayers. I'm like, God, you taking me. I'm going to trust you in this next season of my life. But you really going to have to help me to have tougher skin.
And that means you got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You said help you. So that means you got to do part of the work too.
I got to not look at the comments. Or if I look at the comments.
But you'll get to the place where you can.
Yeah.
That's how you saw that you grew. Yep. That's like, you get put in these situations for God to remind or show you, you have made progress. Because sometimes we shy away from spaces that are challenging or uncomfortable. Like, he showed me that not too long ago that, girl, you healing. And I was proud of myself for that. Like, I really was. And so that tells you that God is doing a work and that you're doing your part too. Because we have to do, like, if I've learned nothing about, leadership and moving forward and creating a movement and doing all of those things, is what I have seen is it doesn't get easier. But when you know that it's purposeful, God is with you the whole way. And when he's with you the whole way, the things that look hard to other people won't hit you the way it used to. Like that trigger is no longer a threat anymore. So the enemy can't use that landmine.
Yep.
He can't use it. He got to try something else because he's like, oh, wait, I tried that. She didn't trip up. Okay, wait, I'm going to try it one more time. Maybe that was an accident. Let me do it again. So if it happened again, stay laughing and comment.
I am like stuff, and I'm confident in the way I look and who I am. So stuff like that doesn't bother me. People gonna have something to say because I know that, you know, with the average look of what goes on in society, I know that I don't have that average look. I know that I'm beautiful, but I don't have the average look. So people gonna have their perception. People even mean and say things about Beyonce, you know, people that I consider as like gorgeous, or, you know, even Crystal was saying that, you know, people with Crystal Haynes, I think she's gorgeous too. Like she was saying that people, so who am I not for people to say something? It's just that I want to be prepared forward, like prepare my mind, prepare my heart, and help me to know who I am when I get to that next level of where Lord, he is actually.
Chris ain't got time to be like tapping you. Give me a phone, DeVonnda. You know she'll put you in the headlock. She little, but she's strong.
She is strong. Yeah, that's my program, and she gonna make sure stuff's straight. And I might not get to it because it might be deleted by the time I try to find it or look for it. But guys, I really hope that you were, you know, blessed by this episode and us talking about our trust issues. We hope that you got something from it. You know, write it down, give it to God, and just leave it there and say, God, I'm trusting you to get me through this and bring me through this. So,
yeah, because he's faithful. Mm-hmm. Like, he is definitely faithful. The song, every time I hear CeCe Winans sing, all my life you have been faithful. Mm-hmm. That, when I tell you, tears, because he does walk you through all these phases of life, and sometimes it's things that you didn't think you would get through, but you do. Every time he shows up every single time, and it's a proven thing that you can trust me. Like I've given you nothing but countless examples as to how you can trust me, and it's up to you to receive the trust, and for you to actually trust me back. Yeah, because I trusted you with the gift. Yeah, now trust me giving it back, and to the people I send you to, because they might not want it in the beginning, but you show up and you do it confidently and you obey, and it's something on the other side of your obedience. Yep. So trust God. I thought you was about to sing. You want to sing so bad in this episode, don't you? What you want to sing? I want you to sing. I will trust. She can old school. Yeah. I will trust. No, like I will trust.
Anyway, guys, trust God.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's going to do it every single time. Turn out the noise, and I guarantee that he's going to show up for you in ways you cannot even imagine. We love you guys, and we're out.
No. You got to do something with that shopping.
I don't know why.
You keep saying we're out, but we have a whole way we end this. Even though it's unscripted, it's scripted, but it's unscripted.
Oh, yeah. Come for the laughs.
Stay for the lessons.
No. Okay. Come for the laughs.
Stay for the lessons. Because becoming your best self is better unscripted.
That was so scripted.
Not the show.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Unscripted Push. Here's a question for you. How will you live unscripted this week? Catch you next time.